What's up, everyone? This is DSQISE with the Listening Room, and today on LR Backstage, I have with me Quintin and Sunny from SoundRig. How are you guys doing today?
Doing really good, man. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hell yeah. Thank you both for being here. It's a pleasure to have you guys here. We're obviously like big fans of SoundRig and everything you guys are doing. And so we wanted to at least get to talk to you and go a little bit more in depth. I know, you guys have a big presence in the space, and a lot of people know who you are, but there's also a lot of people that don't. And that's what we want to be able to do, is get to know you guys, get to know SoundRig, what you're working on, and just even like you guys as people, as humans behind the whole project. So if you'd like to start off, I definitely want to hear from each of you. We can go Sunny, then Quintin, just about your background, in music and in tech and in the music scene, kind of how all this started from, wherever you like to start from to up until how SoundRig came about, or how you guys met to SoundRig, and then we can build from there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Would you want me to start or you start? I'll start and then I'll give you a little intro.
Perfect.
So I'm Quintin. I'm the kind of CEO of SoundRig, and I mean, I've been in crypto for since the early days of when Bitcoin was kind of there. I dabbled in it. I didn't really investigate too deeply, but I've been really interested in it. And I have a background in classical music. I played the violin for 8 years and was in a youth orchestra for 6 years. And I've loved music my whole life. I've always wanted to produce music, but never had, the devotion to learn how to do it properly and stuff. And then kind of last year, well, a bit more than a year ago, I got really into crypto, and NFTs were making the rounds, and it was really popular. And I started seeing these projects that were kind of selling out and making a ton of money, and I thought, man, I could do that. I'm creative, whatever. Why not? And so I went with one of my friends. I was talking and thinking these really stupid ideas. And then I was like, if I'm going to do something, I'll do something that I could be good and I'd be proud of, right? And so I was thinking, what could I do that I've always wanted to do that NFTs can now allow me to do it better or in a new way? And so that led me to the idea of starting a music project that would be a digital audio workstation. And I had no experience in this. I was learning every day. I spent 12 hours a day for 9 months doing this all on my own, learning how to do, project management, business, everything. And I ended up hooking up with Tobias, who's the third co-founder of SoundRig. And we did this charity concert called Cardano for Ukraine. And that was when the war in Ukraine started. And the goal of that was we'd sell NFT concert tickets, and 100% of the profit would go to this charity that we'd found called the Wonder Foundation, which was really helping a lot with Ukrainian refugees in Poland. And so we did this whole thing. We got together in 2 weeks. That was a whole other kind of learning experience for me. And it was honestly such a cool experience. I was so happy with the end product. We had 6 musicians from the community perform, and it was epic, honestly. And I just kept on talking with Tobias. I really liked how he worked, and he was working at the time really closely with Endmaker. And then I kind of pitched him this idea for SoundRig, which I hadn't called SoundRig. And because when I was making my project that was a digital audio workstation, at the same time I was making this other whole white paper for a marketplace, because I knew there wasn't that on Cardano, and that would be needed to sell, the NFTs from the first project. So I pitched it to Tobias, and he was like, "You would not believe it, dude. A guy I work with at Endmaker pitched me nearly the exact same idea this week. It wasn't a while ago. It was this week. And I was like, no way. Like, who is this guy? This guy, like, you're bullshitting me, Anyway, so we got on the call, and I mean, Sunny sent me his pitch deck that he had made for his company, and I was like, dude, we are the same person. Like, we have the same vision, like almost word for word. And I mean, obviously, at that point, it was like no brainer. Let's work together. And I mean, we're now like 6 months later, and yeah, we're killing it. We got like 7 releases coming out in a week, so that's pretty awesome. So, anyways, with that said, I'll let Sunny talk about his story because he's got a really long story.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. But this is what was happening on the other side of the universe, let's say. So I come from a town called Bedford, which is like an hour north of London. And there's a lot of talent. It's like a hotbed. There's a melting pot of musical talent, all types. We've got live venue events. There's rock bands. There's hip hop. There's drum and bass. UK grime. I think you might have heard of it as a UK version of hip hop.
I love grime.
Anyway, so I'm not musically talented, but a lot of my friends are. And back in 2011 is when we first had this idea. So we came up with the concept of SoundRig because we were looking at the whole talent scene and realizing that not many of them were getting through, even though they were massively talented. And the problem is that people who are not talented but were marketable were actually getting the record deals, and the people who aren't marketable weren't, right? But they were much better lyrically or whatever. So that's where the concept of SoundRig came from. So my analogy is like an oil rig. So instead of where an oil rig would source raw material from the underground and bring it to a platform, refine it, and distribute it to the world, we decided to use that concept for talent. So instead of oil is obviously sound, right? So the point was that in anywhere you are in the world, if we got local people, talent scouts, whatever, to find the talent, we would provide the platform for them to refine their music and make it good enough to sell on this platform without the need for record labels. Anyway, so this was in the days of the iPhone 4. We created a web app. We put it on the iPhone 4. We tried to show it to investors, record label execs, and all that. And they quickly identified it as maybe a challenge to them, so they weren't interested. The investors didn't really understand what was happening. The reason was there was no distribution network, or the tech didn't exist, basically. So Bitcoin had just come out, but we didn't know Web3. We didn't have Web3 as it exists today. So I put it on the back burner and just let it simmer, and I wouldn't let the idea go. So fast forward to 2021, when COVID had hit, I was basically laid off work, and then I took the opportunity to think, you know what, now is the only time that I'm ever going to do a career change, really. I was approaching 37, 38, and I was like, this is it for me. So I did now or never. And then I was at the same time getting into Cardano a lot. And then the Cardano NFTs were released. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use my talents as a writer and my interest in technology and the blockchain to get a job in tech. So I started doing copywriting for different projects and stuff, built up a portfolio. Luckily came across Patrick on Twitter. This is Patrick Tobler from Endmaker. He was looking for a tech copywriter. I applied, and then 3 days later, I was working for Endmaker, which kind of blew my mind. So I was like, wow. So we did, and that was in, I think, September of 2 years ago now. I'm a good copywriter, but I don't think I was a technical copywriter. So it was quickly apparent, maybe in 6 months, that I wasn't right for that job, but more project management. And then that's when it dawned on me that the idea I had in 2011 was ready for now, because the technology that we needed was the blockchain. That was the network. And the product or the delivery vehicle for the music was NFTs. And it just it was one of those moments that my head exploded. So I then got in touch with our developer. So the company that does the development for Endmaker, who was doing all the websites for their Ada Ninjas and Mandala Metaverse and a few of them, right? So that's called Leaf Agency. And I went to Tobias, who's the CEO at Leaf, and kind of like a pitch stroke interview, because I wanted to get into more project work. So Endmaker referred me to Leaf. I went there. As part of my interview, I pitched SoundRig to him as an idea. And then he was like, exactly what Quintin said. He was like, you don't fucking believe it, mate. He goes, right now, in this week, I had a guy who just spoke about this idea. Let's get together. And then the rest is history. So within 2 months, we had got the team together, built the player, the MVP, and obviously then, well, we're going to get into it now. So I was in charge of getting the artists on board, and Quintin has got all the contacts that we needed for the artists on Web3. So we all had our little areas, and Tobias, who's the other founder and the CEO of Leaf Agency, they were in charge of doing the tech and building out the website and stuff like that. So, and here we are now talking to you on the verge of releasing the music.
Wow. No, that's crazy. That's some serendipitous stuff right there. Like, you know, like having that, like that is when some, however you want to view it, like energy is aligned on some levels, because that, you know, like that stuff doesn't, I don't know, it's not coincidence. I feel like there's some things that brought both of that energy together enough to you guys. So that's really cool to hear. I did not know that at all.
Yeah, I mean, it felt that way because I think the fact that all of us believed in our ideas and the vision, that energy just kind of had to be attracted to each other, right? So, and it came in a way that none of us expected, and it's blown up as well.
Yeah, and it was just so cool. Like the first 2 months, I was just like, I couldn't sit down. Like I was just so giddy because it was so like, you don't, when I was working on my other project, it was depressing because I was working so hard and getting nowhere. And 9 months, easily 12 hours a day, I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours, trying to do everything. And when we got together, we had our first meeting, whatever, and we were like our vision aligned perfectly. And we said, okay, yeah, we want to do this. And I already knew Nan from NFT Jam, and I was like, I know the back-end developer we need. Let's set a call. We had a call with him within a week, and it was go. And literally we went from meeting for the first time to having the MVP of our media player out in 2 months. And
holy shit.
I kept on telling my wife, I was like, this is the most, it's so depressing and so exciting at the same time for me, because I worked my ass off for 9 months and got nowhere. And in 2 months, we got so far, and I was like, it's just depressing because of how hard I worked for 9 months and got nowhere. But it's also incredibly exciting for the exact same reason. And it was just I felt like we were unstoppable. And I still feel we have the biggest opportunity right now. And it's still people are coming on and people are showing so much interest. And it's so cool to see kind of a snowballing effect that happens. It'll just be oh yeah, I'm talking to some random person, and then, hey, I actually know this really big artist, and I'm going to talk to them, and it'll be I know this really Sunny, I know this producer. I mean, you can talk about Leon's Sunny, but that was the coolest thing. He's yeah, I know this producer. He's really good. He knows people from all around the world, and it was within that week we had 50 artists registering or something like that, and it was okay, this is real, man. This is not. We're not just spitballing here. We have a lot of interest. So that's just been the coolest thing for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. That, and I think, even though the 9 months that, like you said, you worked your ass off and it felt you got nowhere, I feel like it was preparing you for the moment where you guys met, right? The moment where all that happened, even though it seemed like it was wasted energy, or maybe kind of you said, I feel all of that, if you didn't do that, maybe it wouldn't have even lined up the same way, right? So I think that that was your
dude,
prep.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I always say,
it's never wasted energy. It's learning experiences, right? So those failures aren't failures. They're actually just learning experiences, getting you ready for the next ride or the next challenge.
I say it was an express version of business school, and and stuff. I mean, unfortunately, I learned through like errors and failures, but I mean, there are lessons you have to learn either way. And I mean, I will never forget a couple of the lessons. I mean, yeah, it's
Well,
like,
I mean, I had my own failure as well, because when I was trying to get into the NFT space, right, I had this children's book that I wrote. It was an ambition of mine to write a book, so I wrote a book, but it was a children's book, and then it never really did anything. But I thought I could make it into a community-driven narrative where, like, the community create the ideas, and then I would write the book. And anyway, it was my first experience into making an NFT project, and it failed spectacularly because I didn't know about like building a community and having people wanting it to wait. I just thought people would just want it, right? And it's one of the things that I spoke to Patrick about when I was doing the interview for Endmaker. And anyway, the point is, without those lessons, I would never have known how the whole space works and how, you know, community-driven projects are needing a community, etc. It's crazy, but it got me ready for this for sure.
I'm not sure talking about like a lot about our failures is the best strategy here, but yeah,
No.
we learned a lot about these lessons.
I mean, I think it is. I mean, I think
No,
like
yeah.
it's real. It's real, right? Like I feel like, you know, a lot of people get to see the end product of everyone's effort, but they don't see all the behind the scenes shit that happens that like is what gets you there and what you had to go through, because, you know, it's easy to see like oh, yes, this is where we started and now we're here, and everyone's like, oh, wow, that's great. And like it looks linear and you're like, nah, we like this fucking, you know, everyone's path is up and down, looks like a stock ticker sometimes. You're like, you know, like looks like a chart sometimes, like the up and down it can be. So, but then that's what has led you guys not only to persevere and to learn, but then to like develop. I mean, the fact that you guys had a minimal product in 2 months is crazy. Like there's still things that I'm working on that's taking longer than that. That's not even like a back end, like, you know, functioning thing like that you're like, wow. So that's super impressive and super like really cool that that all came together like that. But then how you guys have even just expanded from there through all of that. And the SoundRig player and everything you have right now, like to me personally, to a lot of people, I think is fantastic. I love the idea of what you guys have done with it so far, and then what you're about to do and to launch officially with these musicians, which we can actually talk about here in a sec. But I did want to real quick, it makes sense where the logo came from now too, and I really do like the idea how you said of like extracting from the underground and bringing things up. Like that's really cool. Like that was a whole new. I was kind of curious where like the logo and that idea and like that stuff came from, but I, you know, like kind of got the idea seeing it, but like hearing that's really cool. I really do like that whole like philosophy of how that works. So that is awesome.
I'm glad you
but yeah,
actually understand and appreciate that for sure. Because the one thing that we want to make clear from the start is SoundRig is not particularly for well-known famous artists. Like we always say, we're not stupid. We'll never say no to a famous artist. If they want to come on SoundRig and release some tunes, more than happy for that. But we want to focus on the people that are all too often forgotten and overlooked and completely ignored in some sense, and maybe because of where they're from or what they look like or whatever, but we want the music to do the talking, right? So it's the talent that speaks, and it's a market that decides, not the record labels that decide what the market wants. So we're going to go completely opposite to what's ever happened before. And by offering a platform that allows everyone to come and only the talent speaks, well, then that allows for magical things to happen, because you're now providing opportunities for people who are probably working 2-3 jobs just to make their dream come true, or not even able to create the music that they want because nobody will give them the option to do so. Now, I think anyone can go and make a track and put it on Spotify or SoundCloud, but to make a living off that, and you can see what's already happening recently, right? Artists are fucking kicking off right now because they're realizing that they have to sell thousands of streams, whatever, to get thousands of streams just to make any decent money. And obviously, while leveraging blockchain technology and selling them as NFTs, then I think you're expanding their opportunities like tenfold.
Oh yeah, so much, because also, even with Spotify streams, and like I know everyone villainizes Spotify, like I know they're totally like, I get it, like just, but like even their streams, like it takes months to get the accounting in. So even if you had 1 million streams and you make a couple grand, by the time you get that money, like you could have maybe paid on your bills at this point, like, and all that. And so you're like, well, great, now I'm behind on my bills and now I have to wait another however many months, or and even to get to that point, like, organically, where you're actually building a following, you're not just using like bot traffic and stuff. Cause obviously, like, bots and stuff that get you streams doesn't account to fans that will support you for life. That might be like a very temporary paycheck. And so now we, not only with, like you said, the blockchain, like the royalties you can do in the code and then distribute directly to the artist and to the project or whoever, like, and it almost in like pretty much instantaneously, which I think is one of the greatest things and have a copy of the ledger like that it happened, like it's not like, oh no, we totally sent that out to you, like our accounting says it, like, no, it's here and you can verify and we can check. And I think that has been one of the most powerful things, because as a musician, as a creator, you're like, oh, I'm seeing in real time people's support and this coming back to me, and I'm not having to wait and wonder. And then I get my statement from my DSP, like, oh, this is how much you made, like, oh, tight, $10 a month, or whatever it is, like. And so I think that that's a very like crucial and key thing, and being able to do what you guys are doing is amazing. And I really think that's awesome. Real quick too. Yeah, absolutely. Like I like, just for everyone listening to, like, this is like, I love SoundRig, and like, I know I'm biased, like, but that's just like, like, I mean, all of us in the listening room do. So like, whatever, like, I don't, that's just cause we love what they're doing. But I do, like, if you guys want to like brief overview or give like a kind of like how SoundRig works. Like, and a lot of people I think know the baseline of like, there's the SoundRig player, and then you guys are about to launch some artists, but like, if you want to talk about like how it works, what you guys are doing, and then we can talk about the artists that are about to launch here on November 1st and the official everything that's about to go down.
So yeah, I mean, SoundRig's a really big topic. I say we're building. I mean, it depends how long you want me to talk for here, but I mean, I always intro it as, it's a music marketplace, right? That's one of the things we need really to drive adoption, is a place for people to buy music, to go specifically for music. But it's so much more than just a marketplace. We're really trying to create kind of a whole new music ecosystem, which is leveraging, Web3 technology to, create such crazy opportunities, as Sunny said, for people who would have been ignored by the traditional system. And so, like, our first 3 steps, they're just the beginning. I mean, the first one was the media player, because there was not a tool to listen. Like, listening to music on Cardano sucked. And that's why we did it, because I hated listening to music. I love music. I love the musicians on Cardano, and I hated listening to music because it was so annoying. And so that's why we did this, the media player. Then we're doing the Launchpad, because we want to start producing our own, not producing, we want to start releasing our own NFTs, which we are calling tunes, which I'll just say quickly. We did some research, and, NFTs have a really bad kind of rep with a lot of people who aren't in crypto, because all they see are PFP projects selling for millions of dollars. So the name actually came from Sunny, and it's Web3 music tunes, so tunes with a 3 in it. And so the Launchpad, and then obviously the marketplace, and that's just so that we can start building kind of a community that isn't necessarily just for flippers or whatever. It's really that you're buying these because you love music, and it's going to be like, just a music provider. And going past this, we have so many ideas. We have, we've looked at a lot of problems that musicians are facing when they come to onboarding, and, problems. The first problem is actually just onboarding them. So, like, we're working on a minting thing that will complement Endmaker's minting services, so that there's no coding required, and it's like you don't need any technical knowledge. You don't need to know even really what an NFT is, and it will still work for you. So we're working on that. We are the payment gateways. I mean, that's been solved by Endmaker is fiat transactions for NFTs. That's huge. That's one of the biggest things I think for adoption. Another thing is artwork. It's musicians are musicians. They're not necessarily artists. So we're also building kind of like a creators lounge thing that will be not public. It will be for the musicians and vetted artists, media people or whatever, who can communicate together and collaborate to make the best end product. We also have plans to do a charity, which will, we're tentatively calling it Adopt a Country. And essentially it will be a charity that will allow people to donate money specifically to a region or a country in order for us to establish like recording studios or, art studios, so that, for instance, in Kenya, we are working with a refugee camp, and that was one of the first things they said is, hey, could you pay for us to get, a recording done? Because there's a community of 250,000 people, and they all share the same, one computer, and all go to the same recording studio and record all their stuff. And they still manage to produce amazing stuff. But what we want to do is alleviate that kind of stress by providing the opportunities anyone who wants to onboard through this charity by having these.
Just want to Quintin, just give a shout out to Mr. Mula and the Golden family from Kakuma refugee camp in Canada. What's up?
In Kenya, yeah.
Oh, did I say Canada? Kenya,
yeah, you said Canada. I think you were thinking of me. You're looking at me because I'm from Canada, but they're from Kenya.
Refugee camp in Kenya. That's what's
people will be real confused otherwise. But yeah, I mean, there's so much that we're trying to do, but essentially we're just trying to. Actually, one of the things I got to say is that we're trying to do real life events. I mean, you guys recently worked with Vic, who's a big part of our team, to put on the shows at CNFTCon and Rare Bloom and the after parties for that. And that's another thing we really want to do is provide opportunities to the musicians on our platform, is real concerts. Like maybe they would never have had these opportunities to perform with a live audience or whatever. And sometimes people will ask us like, well, why don't you just do a token sale or an NFT sale or something? And really, the reason is because we don't want to have to think about how our actions will affect token prices and an NFT price, because every action we are taking is literally in the interest of the fans and the musicians. We want the best outcome, because we think currently there's the music industry works great, but the people who are actually making the content are really undervalued or underpaid at least. And, we really want to try to equal that out and provide opportunities for musicians to excel as independent or, whatever. But we really just want to do anything and everything possible to help musicians, and be that stuff we do on our own or, working with projects to integrate new services that we hadn't even thought of and aren't even committing to develop, but working with them to integrate so that, our service is next level. That's really what we're about. Sunny, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I think we've given enough ammunition for the copycats out there. So let's just
you don't have to sell the farm. I understand there's things that you don't want to give away, right now, and have someone else go and, but like we've obviously still good to learn about.
For sure, grand plans, and the whole focus is on the artists basically, and providing and creating opportunities for people, especially in developing countries, because we know music is international, right? There's flavors from all types, from everywhere, and and there's never been a place where all of them can come to one place and you can discover undiscovered talent or upcoming independent artists. It's never been done. And for them to have the opportunity to make money from what they love doing, that's the main focus. And you can only imagine what else can come after later. Like Quintin said, creating live events and concerts and stuff like that for these people who never had the opportunity to perform live is just the dream come true for them. So to be able to do that, that's what we're doing it for, really.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love the idea of the being able to help provide music studios in different countries and even expand, from one computer or one studio to have the ability to go in and record it. Because you're right, there's so much amazing music from all over, but there's a lot of places that don't have the means to get it out or distribute it or even get it heard, but they've got incredible talent. And I think as we've seen, like, technology is the one thing that brought the entire world together to discover that there's a lot more out there than just like our tunnel vision and what we see immediately. And then even what you guys are doing with that, and even with SoundRig as a whole, just being able to provide this platform that's like, hey, you don't have to be XYZ artist just to get like featured on here, just to put things on here. Like, bring what you've got, and then we're also trying to help bring all of that in together. So I think that is super cool. And that is something that, like, I know, just side note, like, listening room, like, I know that would love to like help out with some of those things, like with sponsoring a country or whatever, because I think that's dope. Like, that being able to bring that to to people that don't necessarily have the means right now, but have the talent, like that's huge. So that's incredible.
And it's not even developing countries. Like, if you look even here in the UK, in London, and all over the UK, there's poverty areas, right? There's places that people that can't afford studio time and they can't afford the equipment in the States, everywhere. It's in developed countries as well, where people can't afford that stuff. So it's not like we're only focusing on the developing countries. We're saying this opportunity needs to be for everyone. And one thing that we said was, we're never going to say no to the artist, for any artist, but we do have to have a certain quality level, right? So what we were saying is, if the artist comes to us and they don't have the means or the quality to do so, we'll be like, okay, this is what you need to fix. Please go away, get it sorted. I'll take as long as you need, and then come back and then get it sorted. If we can help, we will. But at the start of the project, we won't be able to, right? Because we need to get it off the ground. But at some point, we will start trying to help these artists. But for now, it's just like, we'll never say no to them. We'll just ask them to make their content and their tunes as the best quality as we can, and as soon as it hits that quality level for us, then they're live. They go live on SoundRig.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that totally makes sense, and that's still great regardless, because you're right. There's all kinds of degrees of separation all over the world, anywhere that people have talent but just might not have the means. And then even going into that, like, there's, like, all right, here's what we hear and here, and, giving that constructive criticism to be like, hey, so the song is great, but, XYZ might need to be finished or fixed or adjusted or, whatever. But I think too, then even like sourcing that to like, hey, we have a group of producers or engineers over here that might be able to like take your stems and help you, or just help, do some things that maybe you don't know or don't have the knowledge for yet, or the means to, but we can help over here. So I think, even stuff like that's great. But yeah, you got to have quality control. You can't just like have someone throw a recording from from their phone and try and release it as an official release. There's got to absolutely like be some standards, because that's not the best presentation, even for the artist, right? Like, want to make sure that they're representing themselves as best as possible for that first interaction.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There has to be some level of, quality control. And yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
That's also, we want we want it to be authentically them. So like, if we can, any way we can, we want to help get that authentic sound through. Because I mean, some people can only afford to use their phone, and I mean, some people still manage to make it sound pretty damn good. But
true.
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing that, but like, we want to
just so you know, we have got a master plan in place. I don't want to say too much about it, but it will be a way for artists to have content made for them. And I don't want to say too much. I just want to say it out now that we have got something in place, which we will be launching soon, after everything goes live. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's incredible. I mean, I'm definitely like, or already what you guys have done, and then what else you guys are already doing. Like, I'm really looking forward to all of that. And if you guys want to, like, I think it'd be a perfect time, like a perfect segue to talk about November 1st, the artists that are coming, like all of that, because I think that's like the next big step and a really huge part of what's about to happen with SoundRig. So,
I'll start again, Sunny, if you don't mind. So I mean, yeah, obviously with my first project, I had a lot of people who supported me through thick and thin, you know, and the first 4 Web3 artists that we are bringing, you guys also supported the hell out of me, so I will always be thankful to you guys. But these first 4 people or groups that are launching with us either performed in Cardano for Ukraine or just have always been there kind of supporting the music community and me as a project lead. And, you know, it means a lot to me that these guys are the first people launching with us. The first one we got is Philsville, an extremely talented man out of Austria, does live loops. They're amazing. His is really, really a nice song that he has coming. Then we got Theoscape, who, you know, started CNFT Audio, which is actually the project that got me into Cardano music. And he is a workaholic. I mean, he got the sickest song together so fast when I asked him, and it's just, I've been listening to it quite a lot. We got Crime Fighter, the group. I mean, a lot of people know them. You know them. Great dudes. They are an example, I hope, that the Cardano community can always aim to kind of pursue as how you should act, as, you know, how we want the music community to act. They are top-notch guys who are so genuine, and they'll never, you know, never say no to helping people out, and they are so talented. The music they produce is next level. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind they'll make it big. And the last is actually a project launching with us. So we've partnered with Cardano Proxies, which is my favorite project. They have phenomenal artwork, and they have a really cool kind of community aspect to the project. And one of these little communities that you got focuses on art, and so visual and audio art. And I thought it was a no-brainer to get them involved. So we actually run monthly contests with Cardano Proxies, and their community creates these songs and the artwork for the NFT, and they pay back the art. So like the revenue is going to the community, which is such a cool concept, and I really love it. And I'm so pleased to announce that, you know, it's Acidica, who is a really cool guy. I've worked a lot with him. He's the guy behind the first song with Cardano Proxies, and Carda Neon created some really cool AI artwork. That's the cover art. And yeah, I mean, so we got Philsville, Theoscape, Crime Fighter, and Cardano Proxies featuring Acidica and Carda Neon. And I mean, I couldn't be happier to have these guys debuting with SoundRig. So now it's Sunny's job.
Yeah, so it was quite convenient actually how it worked out, because when I came up with the idea, obviously I told you I had friends that were musicians and stuff, so I went actually back to these guys 11 years later, and I was like, yo, remember that idea that I had? And they're like, yeah, vaguely. And I was like, well, what's fucking happening now? So I need you to like get ready. And they're like, well, we're not even doing music. I mean, there are people in different places now. But luckily for me, I managed to link up with a person called Leon, LCAM Studio from Bedford. He's actually traveling the world and doing his studio thing mobile while he's got someone in the actual physical studio managing it and stuff. And he's been, like I said, all around the world. So he's met artists from everywhere. So when I went back to him, he was like super hyped. He was like so excited that we had managed to actually get it off the ground, even if it was 11 years later. So I explained to him how it would work, and he's managed to now get some artists for us from the real world. Right? Let's say real world, the Web 2 artists. So one of them is Chin Bees. It's a guy from Tanzania. He's quite a big deal out there. If you look him up on Instagram, ChinBees. We'll put the links in there for you guys, so you can share it. And he's recently created a new track called Ball. And so for the release of his tunes on SoundRig, what they've done is actually made an official remix, which will only be available through SoundRig. And so we'll be releasing on that, plus some extra content, behind the scenes videos, photos of them on set, stuff like that. So this is all his tunes. There's hip-hop UK grime star called Rano, up and coming. He's going to be there. And we've got T-Rocks, who is young and very talented EDM producer. He's made a track called Spotlight, which is also exclusively only for SoundRig. So you can get all their tracks on there. And then my original friends who introduced me to Leon back in 2011, they're called Ill Defined, two brothers, a hip-hop duo. And one of them is a producer. So he's actually done this first release as more of a solo project as part of his producing, his production, so his beats. So there's 5 tracks on there. 4 of them are exclusive for SoundRig, and one of them is going to be everywhere. And he's made a video for it as well. So we've got 4 tracks, 4 artists from the real world, and then soon after we've got the artists from the refugee camp releasing. So Golden Family, Miss Sambula are going to be coming up with something in the next week or two, and then thereafter we just want to get more coming. And I just want to say now to everyone listening, we really, really want to mix it up. We need some female talent. We need the ladies. Where are the ladies at? Because we have no ladies, no female artists with us, whether they're upcoming, undiscovered, whether they've been out and they want to make a comeback. Just come and talk to us and we'll get you set up and teach you everything you need to know. And also the genre of music. So we've got a lot of hip-hop going on, and I love hip-hop. I grew up on hip-hop. But I do want to see all genres on there. So, you know, rock to Latino, reggaeton. We're going to have Afro beats, of course, you know, Asian music, whatever. So if you're out there and you've got the talent and you're looking for a new way to get your music out there, come and say hello and we'll get you set up.
Yeah, that's actually, I wanted just to add, like, some people have asked, like, oh, what type of music do you want on your marketplace? It's like, or it's with SoundRig. I'm like, music. That's what we want. I don't care if I've never heard of the genre or style, and I don't care if I understand the language. Is it music? Is it good? Like, good quality? Like, then yes, we want it. Like, classical. It doesn't matter. We really don't want this to kind of be like. That's another thing. We really don't want it to be a thing that is like in your face. It's crypto. We want it to be a thing that, because we really feel like, music could be the universal language that onboards the masses. So we need to build a tool that doesn't, shove it down your face. This is Web3, that this is crypto, that whatever, that you care about the price of the token or whatever. We're building a platform that is for the music, for musicians to get, good compensation, great opportunities, and for the fans to get phenomenal music and incredible kind of exclusive content, because each of our tunes is more than just a song and an album cover. There's a whole package with it. So it's really cool. And we're at the like forefront of, this type of tech and stuff. So it's really exciting to me to see what innovation comes and like what will tunes look like in a year. Because right now it's like, every time I talk to a musician, like, what do you mean like additional content? It's like anything you can think of, dude. Like anything you can think of, we want to do. And if we can't do it now, we will work so that we can do it, because the sky is the limit. This is the first time you've had this type of option to sell. You could sell concert tickets with your NFT, and because we didn't talk about this, but our media player is encrypted, so like you could sell an NFT with every single NFT having a different QR code that is literally a concert ticket. Like you could do crazy stuff, and literally the sky is the limit.
With the NFTs being a finite amount, and they're obviously made from artists that probably might not be known now, but these artists, if they blow up, if they're really talented, and like I said, the market will choose, right, who's good. I'm not saying everyone's going to be a massive success on SoundRig, but the ones that do come through and have released their tunes with us, well, at some point, I believe that when those people blow up, so will the value of their NFTs. And never in the history of music or any kind of genre where you can buy, items like, say, CDs. When the CDs were sold, they were sold in charity shops for £1. Like you could never really, it never went up unless it was in mint condition and you never touched it, and it was like 1 of 50 or whatever, right? So, but now with NFTs you can do that, and then on the resale, the artists get the royalties as well. So not only do the value of the NFTs go up, they get royalties. So what we're doing with all these people is something that they've never seen before, and I think that over time, as the artist grows, as the library grows, then people will realize that if you want to find music from anywhere in the world, you go to SoundRig. Like whatever language you speak, whatever language music you listen to, there'll be an artist representing your community, and then you can see who's upcoming and support the ones that you love. And another thing we never spoke about is actually when you make a profile on SoundRig, we allow them to put all their other channels on there. So if they are on SoundCloud or Spotify or iTunes or whatever, put your music there. People can discover you, listen to you over there. But if they want your exclusive tunes, then they buy through SoundRig, and that supports them in another way. And we don't take a cut from any of it. So we're not saying to artists, "Oh, we want a cut of whatever you bring." No, they put all of their outlets on SoundRig, and it becomes like a hub for them. So they've got all their socials there, they've got all their outlets there, they've got their biography, and you can also hear, because we've allowed them to upload what they call a signature sound. So people can hear their music for pre-releases for free, something that they feel represents them the best. Listen to that. Once they fall in love with this person, they then buy and support the artist for their career, basically, and bring them up. And then we see what happens. Like I said, if they're really talented, then the market will decide if they're talented and they love them or not. And then if they do decide to go down the record label route, well, all love to them and good luck to them, right? So we're not going to impede them or tell them not to go down that road. It's all up to them. But the fact that we can get them to that stage where they get a record label, that's amazing for us.
No, I think that's super fucking dope. Like I think the idea too, even behind the additional content is, artists over the past years have always been told, like, create more content, like film yourself in the sessions, do this. And it's usually for social media to like put yourself out there. But now another way to do it is like this is like digital liner notes in a different way, right? Like a different experience of like vinyl records and things that a lot of people have the nostalgia of vinyl. And the reason why it's still like the market's blown up is because we lost a lot of those things. Even like a Spotify profile and stuff is like an image and some text, and that's tight, and you can go from there. But being able to be like, here's also some photos from the sessions, here's videos from my sessions, here's a overview that I screen recorded, here's a bunch of random, you really give an insight to your life, or you as an artist, or your whatever, where you're working out of. Like, here's the tiny little room I recorded my entire album out of that you're listening to, or whatever. And I think those types of things and that experience is going to help people connect so much more to artists on a level that goes beyond even like the way that people connect on social media with artists, just by showing some of that. Like now it's this this piece that's solidified, and you have, like you said, there's really no limit to what it can be. And as the technology grows, that's only going to grow too. That's like, awesome.
It's like a chance to show the authentic you. Like doesn't have to be like, a press tour, like where you have like the certain notes that you have to hit. Like I mean, the crime fighters releasing like behind the scenes stuff, and it's how they interact with each other, and how they how they joke and how they are as a group. And it's not like, I mean, okay, they don't have a problem, like, be real, but that's the type of thing, like, it's authentic. And like you said, yeah, like a studio tour, like sometimes, it's crazy. Like, some people aren't using the best stuff. I mean, we've got like the group in Kenya, we had some photos of like where they're producing, and we're like, you're making that music in like a room with like some soundboards on the wall, and like, I don't know, like whatever, like, like just, it's a window. It's an opportunity for many things, but as a window into who the musician is and like who they really are. And, that's an opportunity you don't get a lot of the time. And, I like the music you can get anywhere else. You could, but you can't get this. It's exclusive to the tunes. And if you are a fan and you really want to support, you really want to know who's making the music, this is like an opportunity that you've never had before. Like when we were first coming up, we were saying it's kind of like the first type of DVDs that came out had all the extra content. Like some even had like games on them. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, and it's throwing back to nostalgia, like limited edition, whatever, record releases or game releases or something. There's all this extra content, but it's more than that. It's like what went into making the song, who is the artist, and it's really cool. And it's going to evolve, it's going to change, and I just think I'm really happy with what we've got so far. It's such a cool variety. I was worried we might get all the same stuff, and I don't think we have one tune dropping that has the same type of additional content, and that is already super encouraging to me, because it's people are thinking, and I like that. Like, you're creative. It's another form of creative expression, and it's not something a lot of people are used to, but it's a really, really cool opportunity, and I really have liked that aspect.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that, beyond just like, the player and the launch pad and everything else you guys are working on, I think that additional content and being able, like, is that being like, that's a piece of it, like, that comes with it already there, instead of like, oh, you can like get my track and now you have access, but you gotta like go over here and get some stuff, or maybe I'll send you something that's like, no, it's all right here. And like my favorite part, like, just subjective, but even when CDs had booklets of stuff, was always just seeing like the space that people created in, like, that, and obviously sometimes like bigger artists, it's big studios or whatever, but sometimes you see these just a room with shit everywhere, like gear everywhere, whatever, stuff on the floor and all this, but you see like, this is where I made it, and you're like, that, for whatever reason, like being able to peer into that, and then you're like, I see, like, I get how this like came together, and now we can do it with video and other things, like you said, even like Crime Fighter, like all those guys are hilarious, like getting to meet them and be around them at CNFTCon and Vegas and everything was like, we talked to them a lot on chat and spaces, but to have all of them around and to be in that space, and then you can now bring those same feelings or that same like interaction to other people who maybe haven't met them in person, but now can see like what they're really like, to then inform like, oh wow, yeah, it makes sense. Like, these guys are these amazing musicians, but they're also these just like hilarious, good people, and this other thing, other things happening. So, and with any artist, like you said, even over in Kenya, like to be able to see like what they're using, but then creating with that, and then you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then, yeah, I think that just expands everything. So I'm really looking forward to November 1st launch of all these artists, of all of this. I'm definitely going to make sure like I'm there, I'm going to be on the SoundRig site. And then even everything further beyond that. Since that's kind of like the official launch and drop of things, like how do things proceed from there? Like, are you going to do more of those, or is that like the start, and now things will start to just like artists can start to filter in and out, and you'll start to like launch artists just as it comes, or is there going to be like multiple launch dates or things like that?
So basically, we've got the ball rolling, and like all artists are different, right? So they got different work ethos and work rates, and like some of them are fast producing. So what's happening is you'll see on the website there's like now I think 52 artists that have all registered. Some of them are taking their sweet time about it, I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are really like getting on the ball. So what you'll find is once the guys that are launching on the first have really put in the effort and got their stuff ready, right? And then so what you'll find is soon after there's gonna be random drops happening. We will obviously put it out there on social media when the artists are going to be dropping and what who they are and stuff like that. But these are the guaranteed ones that we know that the content is ready and everything is ready to go. After that, it could be every 4 days, 5 days, every week. We haven't put down a timetable yet because we just want to get the artists to the point where they're ready to go and just help them launch. And also, there's a lot of educating, going on because all the Web 2 artists have no clue, not even how to open a wallet. It's not their fault. You know, they've been put off by like the news, the sentiment, everything. So they're all a bit nervous about Web 3 and crypto and stuff like that. So I'm doing a lot of educating. A lot of my time is actually spent just training them and going through references and telling them about it and stuff like that. So that takes its time as well. And then they have to go away. They have to filter it, absorb everything, then come back. So it's taking its time, but the artists are going to be like coming hopefully quite thick and fast soon after, let's say in the next month or two, we'll hopefully find more. And obviously, a lot of artists that are ready are waiting to see the thing actually roll out. So before they commit to it 100%, and I don't blame them for that because it's brand new. It's so new that it's hard to get your head around something. Like you hear about it and you see the pitch text and whatever, but you don't know until it's actually live, right? So a lot of them are waiting for that. So I feel that once these what they call the pioneers, like the trailblazers, these first 8 artists are laying the ground and they're brave. I will give 100% respect to them. Once they have shown how it works, I believe that the other artists will get their shit together very quickly and get on there because they're going to see that, oh, fuck, it's actually live, and I need to get myself on there to start earning and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think even just after making the announcement that we were having a drop, like it's happening, that kind of kicks some people in the ass, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, because I think we had a lot of people who were just waiting to see like if we could achieve it, if we were going to do what we were saying, and I mean, we are, and it's been a journey. But it's all in order to make the best product. I mean, we actually have had some musicians, specifically the Web 2 musicians, were ready really quickly. Leon did an amazing job getting their music and their content in, but we ran into some hiccups or whatever. For technical reasons, we had to delay. And, Sunny was always like, yo, when the hell are we going to launch? These guys are like busting my balls. Like, dude, why? I gave you my song like a month ago. Why haven't we released? And I was like, dude, like, okay, it was because of the ISRC stuff, but I'm like, this is super freaking important. Like, we want to be compatible with the industry. Like, moving forward, we want, like, our goal is to see a Web3 song, like, on music charts. And this is the first step, man. It's like, you can't skip steps just to rush something out. And I was like,
understood. Like when you explained,
yeah. But I was just like, I was like, Sonny, tell them, like, dude, it's for the good. It's for the good, dude. I swear, we're not just bullshitting these guys. Like, we're not just holding your song, like, captive. Like, yeah, we're gonna launch. Like, I swear to God, dude, we're ready. It's just we're waiting for one freaking thing. And anyways, so now it's happening. So they're happy.
No, that's amazing. I'm excited, guys. Like, this is, it's good to, I know you guys have spoken about a lot of this before, but it's good to like bring it all in this way. And especially like right before everything is about to launch officially. I mean, you guys have already had the player that you can go and load up songs and demos and everything. So it's already obviously been working. We've all been enjoying that, but now to like have the artists and everything else, like the next steps of part of the SoundRig idea and brand and everything that you're doing, I think is incredibly exciting. And like, it's been cool to kind of get insight back into both what you guys' history and how you met. I think that story is really cool, actually. Like that's some super serendipitous, awesome energy. And, you know, and even going forward, I think everything you're doing is fantastic, and looking forward to how it all develops. And obviously, like, there's stuff that I'm going to do with you guys and things as well. Like, there's a lot of us that are, and we're excited to do that, be a part of everything. And so, yeah, like I do really appreciate not only you taking the time, because I know you guys are, you know, prepping for this launch, and there's a lot happening as it is, and life goes really fast in this space, and we all age 10 years every day. But
it's like how and I love this guy Gary Vee. It's all about enjoying the journey, man, loving the journey and the whole fucking process, and being patient, staying patient, so that, because you know it will happen if you stay patient. If you rush it, it's not going to happen. So I believe that the journey that's happened and everything around, all the bumps, all the roller coaster, is all part of it, and you have to love that bit to actually get where you want to get to. And it's actually happening. And fucking hell, he's right. Because I used to want it like tomorrow when I was younger, right? But as you got older, then I realized that it was actually meant to happen this way.
Yeah, exactly. We always want things to happen in a certain way, and if they don't, then we get discouraged. But it's like sometimes, like most of the time, it doesn't always happen the way we want it, because our thing is like way more immediacy, like, you know, like now, tomorrow, next week, a year from now. And like sometimes it could take 5, 6, 7, 10, you know, till you finally hit the stride, till you finally get to where it is that you envisioned, because life is unpredictable and there's a million things happening, and there's all this chaotic stuff going on while you're trying to do your thing. And so I think but I think like you guys are at the perfect moment. This is perfect. Even though we're in a bear market, it's still perfect. People are interested in looking and still investing and buying NFTs, and still going down the digital collectibles and this path. And music is now taking its place and solidifying more because of what, you know, things like what you guys are building, and the tech and all that is now coming into the space a lot more and growing. And so I think that, you know, this is obviously like, I feel like in a year, I should like a year from now, I mean, we'll probably follow it before then, but like come back in a year and have another one of these and be like, yo, where are we at? What's been happening? Cause I feel like it's going to be like, just, you know.
And that could be such a cool, just like, even like highlight comparison. That, honestly, that's a great, let's fucking do it, dude. Let's like schedule it for a year from today. Like not even joking, dude. And just look back and like recap this video. Be like, wow, like where are we? Like what happened this year? And like that could be actually just like, I got chills, dude. Like thinking about that, like it'd be such a cool thing. Like, I mean, SoundRig isn't a 1 year plan. I mean, it's a big multi-year thing. So I would love to know. I would love to know what it's going to be like in a year.
Absolutely. October 25th.
That build and add value in the down market, in the bear market, that actually go on to be the market leaders, right? So I think what we're doing is by adding true value to music lovers and creators, and coming from that angle where it's not about us, it's not about greed, it's not about making money, it's about creating a platform for people to excel and exceed in. I think that is what's going to hold us down for life, basically, because if we're coming from that angle, no one can really ever try to chop us down, because we're not coming from a place which is fucked up, basically. We're coming from a place which is right from the heart, and it's really for the people. And as long as we stay true to that, which we will, then I don't think that there's anything really stopping us.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said, the whole team feels the same. Like, that's another thing. Like, we are 100% on the same page, and I love that. That was one of the things that, as we said, like on that first meeting, it was 100% on the same page. And we don't want to succeed on the shoulders of others. We want to succeed and stand tall with everyone we've helped raise up, you know? Like, yeah. Like, if we became absolutely fucking massive, you know, like on the scale of the biggest streaming platforms right now, I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want that. I would be so much happier knowing that SoundRig is one of the leading single contributors to the redistribution of wealth in the world. Like, that fucking is insane to me. If you could do that opportunity where you are single-handedly, you know, again, using the example of being the one on the level of iTunes and Spotify and stuff, like sending billions of dollars directly to musicians, directly to the songwriters, producers, whatever. And that's making impacts on their lives and their entire communities. Because I mean, like, we keep going back to this community in Kenya, but it's one of the best examples. I mean, the NFT sales for these guys is literally life-changing. Like, the call we did with them was one of the coolest calls I've ever done in my life. It was like some dude on a ghetto smartphone with the worst connection and a room of like 25 artists, and they were grinning ear to ear just talking about this, and just them thinking about the opportunity that this is presenting to them. Everyone in that room was realizing, like, holy shit, this is insane. Like, this is an opportunity we never thought we would have, and we would never be able, never given the chance. And that's like
next level goosebumps, man. Next level goosebumps.
Yeah.
And actually,
they
started laughing at me because my internet connection kind of fucked up, and they were laughing because our internet connection in the refugee camp is better than his in London.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. But you know what? Their faces glow up. Just to think about the opportunity that they've got is just like, literally, it makes you humble, because you realize that how fucking lucky we are over here just to be able to think about these ideas and put them into action. So if you can't share that with the rest of the world, then what the fuck are we doing?
True, very true.
Yeah.
No, oh man, that like gave me fucking goosebumps just like hearing about it. Like, I could just imagine.
We got to share it.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. That, like, I'm really, like, I'm glad you guys are definitely sharing that part of everything too, because that like you said, that's key, that's pivotal. That's, being able to share all that with the world and musicians and creators everywhere, like, and you guys to have that vision. That's the kind of things that we need in the space, in the music space, in the Web3 space, in the Web2 space, like all of it, like all of that coming together, I think is beautiful, and something that like isn't seen enough and heard enough, because everything's so cutthroat, and we know that, like, and it has been, and I think that there's a new group of people, especially like you guys, SoundRig, a lot of like other people that are real, like, coming into this approach much differently than the traditional sense, and that's what we need, because the traditional sense is unfortunately like heavily guarded and greedy. And not saying that there's not greed within Web3 and stuff, there is, of course, but it's being able to take that approach and actually like live it and do it, and then show people that you can, and still be successful, and still create good content and music and product, and everything is like that, I think, is key. So that even that being like part of the mission is incredible. So I'm really glad you guys have definitely like shared all of that with us.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And
awesome.
To do it, to be fair. Thank you.
Yeah, I also just want to say like a big shout out to the Cardano music community. You said, I don't have backgrounds in this music community, so the actual like music industry. So I've only heard how cutthroat it is and how how shitty it can be for people. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm blessed, I guess, because the Cardano community, be it the musicians and the projects that are building, are, I guess kind of like what you're saying, like-minded people who are all trying to use this technology to change things for the better. And I've not seen any of that type of stuff. Like, it's all just been such great collaboration. And I mean, I can't name all the projects, and I don't want to do the injustice of forgetting some. So I'll just say, as a whole, the Cardano music community is fucking sick, and I love every space I go in. I love every person I've talked to is just so optimistic, and all wants there to be a change. And it's just been a great experience. Like, even though I've had a really kind of shitty time with my other project, the music community has always just been such a crazy driver. Like, even when I was like, I should quit right now, I was always just so motivated by everyone who I would talk to, and they were just like so genuine, so helpful, and seeing that, it was like a kick in the ass to push through and continue and persevere and overcome these obstacles. And I mean, now we're here, and I can only hope that we just continue onward and upward. And yeah.
I just want to expand on one last point on
You're-
top of that, because you got the Cardano community in the music, right? But I think we need to give a massive shout out to Chaz, Charlie Hoskinson, or Charles, right? Because to be fair, without the platform and his ethos and the vision of coming, because none of the blockchains think like him and are coming from the angle anyway. So what he's done is allowed a place for all like-minded people coming from the heart and people wanting to do better for the world. He's given them the place to come and congregate and meet each other and make connections, right? So when I had this idea of SoundRig, I always thought of it as just something that would be in England or something, just like a local app, yeah, or platform. But when I started listening to Charles and got into Cardano and stuff like that, I realized that this could be a global thing. And when he was talking about going into Africa and banking the unbanked and giving the opportunities, that's when I started thinking, fuck, this is actually much bigger than all of us, right? And music is the way to get them interested in the next paradigm, as it were, and also educate them and make the world a better place. And it wouldn't happen if we didn't have Cardano as a whole anyway. So music's just one part of it, but then you've got all the other things, opportunities that can come of it. But we wouldn't have it unless Charles had come up with it, unless he'd probably given the middle finger to Ethereum and gone and done his own thing, right? So we can all thank him for that. And I'm sure he did it in a respectful way. But all I'm saying is, like, so to you, Charles, for actually making this happen, because all of us wouldn't be here working with each other if it weren't for that.
No, shout out Uncle Charlie for real. No, the ethos and everything. I mean, that's definitely what drew me in, and I'm sure like a lot of us too, was just hearing that. And then I think it translates to when people come in, and not only like the people that have been here for a while, like kind of set that standard. And then as new people come in, we're all still like, hey, this is how this is, and this is how we are, and like things see, and like we welcome you into it. And then I think people take that on because they're like, whoa, this is definitely different over here. And that's definitely like, of course, like one of the biggest reasons why still building and focusing on Cardano and in this area, is because of that. And because of all of us and people coming in seem to like at least understand and share a lot of that same ethos. And you're right. Like if it wasn't for someone being like, this is the standard, this is what I'm trying to go for, then, we might be somewhere else doing some different things or whatever. So I totally agree to you with that. So like, absolutely.
Way of filtering out the snakes and the fakes and anyone that's coming in, because if you want to build something with Cardano, you have to do it the right way. And I think you're really quickly exposed if you're thinking of a quick, like, money-making scheme of a buck, because we look at what's happened on Ethereum and other blockchains, that people do just cash grabs, right? And then nothing happens of it. But I think people who stay in Cardano, who want to build here, they're not coming from that place. And anyone that is just gives up, basically. Just goes off on their own one, because they ain't got the time, they ain't got the patience to actually make something of value. It's just that they want to do a cash grab. That's it. So we're in a good space, and I think we're all surrounded by really, really cool people. I would never have met Patrick and Maker and everything all the other projects are all doing it for the same vision, right? Which is awesome.
No, very true.
I think we've taken up
Absolutely.
a lot of time, bro. Because I think you said half.
No, it's perfect. No, this is great. We can wrap. I think it's a perfect area to wrap up on. This has been like such a great conversation. I really appreciate you guys' time. I know there's a lot going on, so thank you. And thanks for like just diving in with me and with us. And so, if there's any last things that you want to say before we sign off on everything.
Shout out to the listening room. Yeah, shout out listening room and save the date, November 1st. That's when you got to look us up, and hopefully before then, actually. And give the media player a try on SoundRig.io, and of course check out our white paper. So
yes.
Come out on November 1st to support the music community.
Yeah, and if you're a musician, don't be shy. Come and say hello, and we'll get you set up. That's it.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Hit up SoundRig, SoundRig.io. Find them on Twitter. Find them everywhere. These guys are very active. And November 1st, don't miss it. Check it out before, obviously, because they have stuff already happening, already working, already things you can play around with, test out, see musicians in the ecosystem. So absolutely. Sunny, Quintin, thank you guys so much. And shout out to the entire SoundRig team. And look forward to November 1st and the future. Obviously, that's just the start.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Absolutely, guys. Appreciate you.